Sometimes you read something, or maybe see something, but read something that theoretically has nothing to do with narcissism, and maybe it did. What I was reading, they didn't describe the people in the article well enough. My guess, though, based on the little I read, is that they probably were. But you read something and it captures the universal dynamic of narcissistic relationships perfectly. In this article, they were describing a group of people that were making bad decisions that ended up hurting a region of the country financially. And what they said in this article about these people is that they said these people, they do things to people, and they don't do things for people. So let's say that again. They do things to people, but not for people. And that right there, when I read that, I was like, whoa, that is the core of a narcissistic person, and that is the core of a narcissistic relationship. To start, to do something to someone can sometimes reflect some low empathy. When you do something to someone, it's not necessarily what they need. That you might be putting on them an action that may not help them. And that in a way, the doer is just doing what works for them. Some examples would be they are going to lay them off. They're going to take their land. They're going to raise their taxes. They're going to repossess their car. Those things are being done to someone. And typically when something is done to someone, it's not what the person on the other side wants. To do something to someone reflects entitlement and basically the objectification and the not seeing of the other person. The person doing the doing just does something to the other person with little regard for how it affects them. Doing to someone is often elitist, arrogant, entitled, presumptuous, unempathic, and aggressive. And if we take that to a level higher, doing to someone can also be vindictive or retributionary. I am going to sue them. I am going to show them. I am going to make them sorry. I am going to make them pay. Remember, always remember, narcissistic people love retribution and they love revenge and vindictiveness, and they will sit for years and years and ruminate how they are going to get people or stick it to them when they're in a position to do so. And many narcissistic folks will literally cut off their nose to spite their face in the quest for revenge. They would be content, they would be happy hurting millions of people if they could get revenge on just 5. They will do something to the other person or the other people. In none of these cases I am listing that I just said would you use the word for. One does not say, I'm going to do something for someone. I am going to lay them off. I'm going to do something for them. I'm going to raise their taxes. I'm doing something for them. I'm going to sue them. Take the word for out, and we are in narcissism land. Obviously, that subtle shift in language, doing something for someone. Subtle, but it's everything. It implies being of service or collaboration or awareness of the need or want of the other person. I am going to do something for them. I'm going to give her a ride. I'm going to give them some help. I'm going to help them move. We wouldn't view those as doing something to them. You wouldn't say, I'm going to do something to her. I'm going to give her a ride. They're rather a for them. By definition, for is service, help, and in recognition of what the other person may need or want or benefit from. To do for is to offer to help someone move. To do something to someone is to force them to do the move exactly the way you think it should be done and on the date that works for you. For and to get at a dynamic that is rather non-existent in a narcissistic relationship, which is reciprocity and mutuality. Words that imply that there is balance in the relationship. And this balance is emotional in terms of division of duties, in terms of being seen and supported. It's not just one person doing it, it's both. And in mutual and reciprocal relationships, there is lots of for and little to no to. Make sense? So when leaders do things to people and not for people, they tend to be the more authoritarian, harmful, narcissistic, sometimes psychopathic, egotistical leaders that don't actually give a damn about the people or the employees or whatever they're leading. Again, this could be the leader of a company, it could be the leader of a country, it could be a leader of a small town, a small business, it could be the leader of the damn parent-teacher group. But when you are in a group where the person in charge or the person in power is doing things to people, these can create situation and environments of fear, vigilance, constantly waiting for the other shoe to fall, wondering when you will get in trouble, a sort of culture of gotcha. You don't know when something is going to be done to you. Now, when a person in charge or with power does things for people, then it is often a more collaborative workspace or culture. People feel psychologically safe. You feel supported. It's nice. Sadly, it doesn't happen as often as it should. By their natures, narcissistic people seek power, so they are overrepresented in leadership. But this isn't just leadership. This can be your family or your intimate relationship. I know, people don't like the words narcissist or narcissism or narcissistic. I know. Everyone thinks it's too judgy or it's too diagnostic or it's too dismissive. Okay, so then use this framework instead. If you are in a relationship that feels consistently uncomfortable or even toxic, reflect on how often you feel that the person you're in the relationship with does things to you versus for you. And if you want to be balanced, you can do the same reflection for yourself. How often do you do to them or versus for them? In a classical narcissistic relationship structure, the narcissistic person often does things to the other person or people in their relationships, while the other person or people in the relationship with the narcissistic person do things for the narcissistic person. And as long as that happens, the narcissistic relationship works. If you try to do things to the narcissistic person, they will become enraged or passive aggressive or give you the silent treatment, or they will gaslight you, or they will call you vindictive or aggressive or whatever. And if they start doing things for you, well, either you mischaracterize them or it's a flash in the pan experience. One episode of them doing for compared to hundreds of them doing to you. And if the person is narcissistic and does something for you and you do not sufficiently appreciate them, well, then you're back to the rage and the silent treatment and all of it. It's exhausting. They pretty much expect a parade for putting out the trash. And this has major ramifications for parenting and child development. The more we can do for a child and not to a child, then the child is able to develop a sense of agency and efficacy and feel that they are capable and will learn to trust themselves. When we do things to children, they are rendered passive. And of course, while children can't always make their own healthy decisions, left to their own devices, there's a goodly chance a child might have chips and cotton candy for dinner and go to bed at 1 a.m. But we can talk with children and collaborate with them, but also have boundaries. It's called authoritative parenting. And that's where things like bedtime routines that can help children wind down are done for children. They still need to go to bed on time, but there's a story or a bath, and it's not just a gruff, go to bed, shut up, or at least it shouldn't be. Unhealthy parents always do things to their children. Push them into unhealthy routines. They may push the child to do things that may not be a good fit for them. They may do things like force that child to hug a family member that they're not comfortable with. The unhealthy parent believes that they singularly know what is best for their child and feel entitled, as though the child is a puppet, to push them to do whatever they want to them and never stop to listen to them or protect them. The narcissistic parent will do things to them so the child then behaves and shows up as exactly who the parent wants them to be, but not who the child actually is. Try this 2-4 framework out in your life, because that's really a core of these narcissistic relationships. It's being done to rather than being done for. Think of your healthiest relationships. My guess is that many of the things that the other person does in your healthy relationships is them doing for you. And in your most fraught, antagonistic, toxic, tense relationships, it's lots of them doing to you. The nature of objectification in a narcissistic relationship means that you become something sort of less than a person to the narcissistic person, so it only follows that they would do things to you rather than for you. We move a piece of furniture across the room. We park the car where it's convenient. Those are objects that we do things to, not for. If you are questioning whether or not you are in an unhealthy or antagonistic or a narcissistic or a toxic relationship, this little hack may help you more clearly see the dynamic of the relationship. And as we attempt to be healthier in our own relationships, it's a good and simple thing to remain mindful of. Am I doing something to this person or for them? And try to stick to the for. Thanks again.